What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So yesterday was a pretty exciting day for me. I received my first piece of plant mail, so that was very special. But yeah, nothing crazy. I received some cuttings in the mail yesterday. Actually, some stringer turtles here. Let me show you. Some stringer turtles. They're so cute. These have been on my wish list forever, so I'm super excited to finally have them. So yeah, I got them in the mail yesterday. And since they're cuttings, I want to get them propagated right away. I want to get them started. I want to get them settled in. It's the end of summer right now, so by springtime, I want them to be like established and growing, growing like crazy. So I want to get these started to propagate as soon as possible. So after doing some research online, I've noticed that lots of people recommend propagating your string of turtles with sphagnum moss. So that's something I want to do with you guys today. Just to mention all the things we are going to need for our little propagation project here is obviously our string of turtles, or you could try this with any string of succulents, string of pearls, string of hearts, string of dolphins, string of bananas, so string of something succulents. So you're going to need your succulents, obviously. You're also gonna need some sphagnum moss. I have some long fibered sphagnum moss that's been soaking in filtered water for like 24 hours. But I think, after watching a couple other YouTube videos and doing some research, some people say they can get away with propagating their string of turtles with just soaking their moss for a couple hours. But I soaked it for 24 hours just to be safe. So yeah, we have our succulents, we're gonna need our moss. Also, we're gonna need a little, I noticed a lot of people use clear plastic to-go containers. Apparently, for our propagation process with these particular succulents, they like for their environment to be a little more humid. So try to have try to recycle a used to-go container, or even I think using a couple of your plant trays like that to make it like a little dome, that can help. I've also noticed other people use plastic Ziploc bags to put over their pots to make as domes. So I also have a little tiny pot of succulent soil, just succulent soil, as a possible side project. So we'll talk about that a little later. So yeah, let's get these guys propagated. Let's get them started because I want them to grow now. All right, so let's get started here. Just to also mention, make sure your old to-go container has a lid. Whether it's connected or not connected, make sure it has a lid because we want to try to keep the humidity in there. So first, okay, so and then just to mention also, our little to-go container is going to be like our bed. This is going to hold our moss. We're going to wring the moss out, squeeze out any excess water. We want our moss to be damp but not soggy. So squeeze this out. Excess water, damp but not soggy, so not too much. And then lay out a bed. Lay out a little bed on the bottom of your tray, on the bottom of your plastic container. So yeah, a lot of times sphagnum moss is used in gardens. As a growing medium, it holds lots of moisture without being too soggy, but also it's like a soilless growing medium. So holds tons of moisture, but not a lot of nutrients to it. So if you do use this as a growing medium for a long period of time, you might have to use some fertilizer, but that will be something else we could get into on another video. So once we have a layer of our sphagnum moss, a nice damp layer, nice bed for our babies, our cuttings, our baby cuttings. So once we're set up there, okay, not too much. Okay, so once that's good to go, we want to lay out our cuttings nice and carefully. sphagnum moss bed. So we're gonna lay out our cuttings nice and carefully. I've noticed with the little bit of handling that I've done with this string of turtles so far, they're really delicate, so be careful. I know a lot of people mention that they lose leaves a lot, or they can lose leaves, which I've also heard that they can propagate as well. So that's something I want to try if we have extra loose leaves. So anyways, we lay out our we lay out our cuttings on top of our damp sphagnum moss, leaves facing up, and we want our leaf nodes facing down. So let's see if I could point out some leaf nodes here. Oh, this is one big cutting. Oh. So I love the seller. So just to mention, this is the first time I bought from the seller here off of Etsy. It's called Urban Leaf Shop. And they have a lot of great reviews, and they have a lot of loyal customers that post up pictures of their successful growing. So I'm really happy with my purchase, and I definitely recommend purchasing from them, and I would purchase from them again. So thank you, Urban Leaf Shop. And now my one big cutting turned into two, but that's fine. We're good. So leaves facing up, leaf nodes facing down, and that's what I was supposed to point out. So I don't know if you can notice, but on the opposite sides of the leaves, you can see these little itty bitty bumps, which are called nodes, and that's where our roots are going to grow out of if they are successfully propagated. So you want those guys pointing down. You want those guys to have some type of contact with our moist moss. So nice and gentle. So happy with my cuttings, and I'm so excited to watch them grow. So get our cuttings laid out, give them a little space in between to breathe. Look how perfect. So they look happy and comfy. So they're ready to go. Moss is nice and moist. Don't forget, you're gonna need a lid for your to-go container. I don't believe you're supposed to put it on all the way. Secure it on, but don't completely close it so there's some type of airflow. I know some people like to completely close it and maybe add some holes on top for breathing. But right now, I'm gonna close all four corners and leave one corner open for breathing. And yeah, so our cuttings are tucked away in their new little home, and I haven't really decided on if I want to keep these under a grow light or in a really bright spot of the house that I love to keep my plants. So I'm debating over that, but I definitely want to do an update with you guys and see how this procedure went. So we're good with this little piece here. There's also another little side project I want to do. It's not necessary, but if any of you guys are following me here and got cuttings, string of pearl cuttings, and had little extra leaves that fell off. Oh no, they all flipped over. But had any extra leaves that fell off your cuttings, I've read that it's not the super easiest thing, but I've read that it's possible to propagate through leaves and get your leaves rooted and growing. So that's something I want to try. I have only 5 of them here, but I didn't want them to go to waste, and there's nothing to lose. So I wanted to try to get them propagated, maybe in some soil. I've did a little more research online, and there's not a lot of information about string of turtles, but I've read that there is success in propagating the leaves in soil. So I want to try that. So let's do that right now. Tiny, 2.5 inch pot of succulent soil. I want to dampen the soil a little bit first. So let's dampen the soil a little bit first with a spray bottle. So not drench it, but thoroughly you know, give it some good sprays. Make sure it's like damp. Okay, so I think it's damp enough. We don't want it like dripping, soaking wet, but damp. So damp, succulent soil. And then I read that when we try to propagate the leaves, we set it in the soil stem down. So we want that growing part, this growing part in our soil. So let's do that here. I'm gonna grab a little tool. I have an old pair of tweezers that are super helpful. Make the tiniest little incisions in our soil. So let's do that. You could use like a pointy toothpick as well. So kind of like that, make a little bed for them. Again, made a little hole with the sharpest part of my tweezers. You could use maybe like an old chopstick or old fork or whatever. And kind of bury the stems. I'm gonna do that with the rest of these guys here. 1, 2, 3. And yeah, I mean, you know, I've read that a lot of people have had a hard time propagating through leaves, but it's always worth a try, right? Don't let your things go to waste. Don't let like cuttings or don't let the leaves go to waste. It's always worth a try. It's always fun to experiment and watch things grow. So 5 little leaves, put in damp soil. I'm probably gonna do a little bit of a dome over it with a Ziploc bag just to keep the moisture and humidity high until they fully root. But look how cute. So I'm excited. Project, short, sweet. All we gotta do is wait. We have our string of turtle leaves propagating in soil, and then we have our full strands propagating in damp sphagnum moss. Let's give these guys a couple weeks. Let's wait a little bit, and I'll give you guys a little update after some time here. Thanks for watching me propagate my string of turtles. Hope you learned a little something with me here. And hopefully you'll come check out my channel again soon. Bye, guys.